everyone, welcome back to Streed's Guide to Fraggle Rock. Today I'll be reviewing Season 3, Episode 21, Gunge the Great and Glorious. This episode starts out with Sprocket refusing to eat his usual favorite,
Toast, chuck, and chunks of cheese.
Yeah, that, and demands a new culinary delight named Rover's Royal Repast, the dog food fit for a canine king. Doc, in one of his sweetest moments, obliges Sprocket, remarking that he's always been a canine king to him. Meanwhile on the rock, Wimbley is doing Wimbley things as he stumbles across Philo and Gunge, who are searching for McGeggy vines for Madam Heap. You know, this whole interaction reminds me of my job where annoying, pushy, prick customers would interrupt my work and ask me to direct them to a certain product, and I'd be there barely cognizant, not even knowing where the goddamn thing is. Suddenly, Red arrives and Wimbley leaves with her. The two are still left puzzled and decide to go in opposite directions. In a cave nearby, the Doozers are learning a fascinating lesson in the history of their culture. In the years far before the Doozers cultivated their finite craft of work, the Doozers were once a celebratory race, much like the Fraggles. In Doozers history, this is considered one of their more darker periods. Architect Doozer then reveals the purpose of gathering his class to this specific cave, so that they may look upon the face of their first king.
Strangest feeling. As if my life would never be the same once I turned this corner. Boy, that's dumb.
Oh, Your Majesty!
Huh?
Oh, great King of the Doozers! Now that you have returned, we can once again worship you as you deserve. Hail to the King! Come on, everybody! Hail to the King! Hail to the King! Hail to the King! Hail to the King!
Oh boy, wait till Philo hears about this!
Sometime later, Gunge tells Philo this magnificent event, much to Philo's petty disinterest. Gunge takes umbrage naturally, and Philo spits a bit of truth that there are more important things in life than being a king. Their friendship, for instance. Gunge doesn't give a fuck, unfortunately, and promptly abandons his former life and best friend, singing a song bloviating about himself and his ascent into stardom.
I'm gonna clear right out of here. I'm gonna start a new career with a big cigar. 'Cause I'm a star. Gonna be some kind of king. I'm gonna clobber everything, both near and far. 'Cause I'm a star. No one knows how great I am, 'cause no one gives a good door slam for looks and smarts and heroes, hearts and stars as bright as Mars. Gonna be a star. I'm gonna be a star. I'm gonna be a star. I'm gonna be a star.
We return to the workshop, and Doc has searched every store for Rovers and can't seem to find any, since it apparently costs $6.99 a can. Luck strikes, however, and Doc finally finds a store with Rovers, heading out to exchange Sprocket's old stuff for the new stuff, since they're on a budget. Meanwhile on the rock, Gunge is basking in his glory, but can't think of anything to do. Counterpin suggests that he should do what he usually does, which is not reading a postcard from Uncle Matt, but all Gunge can think about is spending time with his dear friend Philo. He quickly dismisses these feelings, and we get another song. Boy, isn't that a sure sign of quality and not a rapidly deteriorating plot.
We're gonna party Saturday night. Strut some stuff in the midnight light. We're gonna party Saturday night. Dance in the pale moonlight. Daytime, do some stuff. Dance like crazy till you're falling down. Nighttime, that's enough. That's when we rock around. We're gonna party Saturday night. Strut some stuff in the midnight light. Come on and party Saturday night. Dance in the pale moonlight. Whoa, whoa, we're gonna party Saturday night. Strut some stuff in the midnight light. Come on and party Saturday night. Dance in the pale moonlight. Dance, 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 dance.
This is quite a box standard episode, but I'm gonna have to go to familiar territory and remark the greatness of music. In fact, all the songs in this episode are stellar. It makes the viewing experience mildly less painful. Kiss, you can live up to your name with my ass. Ain't no party like a Gunge party. Back in the garden, Philo's overwhelmed with grief and anger at Gunge's absence. And this is actually one of the few genuinely touching moments in a generally unpleasant and poorly written mess of an episode.
I think Gunge is going through what we in the advice business call an identity crisis.
What does that mean?
Well, it's when someone doesn't know what he wants to be. He just knows that whatever it isn't what he is.
I don't think I'm gonna ask you to repeat that.
Good boy.
Because it doesn't explain how he could do something so low. And I'm gonna tell him exactly how low I think he is.
My boys are growing up.
We return to the Rock, and Gunge is overwhelmed with boredom and a hint of despair. This scene also marks the second and final appearance of Spearhead Doozer, known officially as Yeaster. That's a shitty name. She approaches Gunge with a tribute to his greatness, bringing back a postcard from Uncle Matt found nearby, claiming it's held in great esteem by the Fraggles. Why the Doozers would even care what the Fraggles value baffles the hell out of me. Matt finds himself on a raft ride and tips over. That's it. Cutterpin begins having second thoughts about having a king since everyone's unsure of how to please said king, and brews up a plan to liven things up. Good luck with that. Meanwhile, Philo is still enraged, assaulting an innocent creature on the way for literally no reason. Fuck you, man, what the hell was that?
Now what the fuck does that do?
We return to the dome, and the Doozers are up to a bunch of theatrics in order to entertain the king, whilst Gunge remains precisely as bored and apathetic as the audience itself. Until, however, Philo returns, and the two have a dramatic rat-to-rat chat.
Hey, what did you do that for?
'Cause you deserve it, you creep! For being so mean to me!
What do you mean? I didn't do anything to you. Oh, you're still jealous because I'm a king and you're not.
I am not!
Am too.
Am not!
Am too.
Am not!
The architect interrupts their tiff and remarks how similar Philo looks to Gunge, with this eventually leading to Gunge showing his former pal the supposed portrait of himself. And this is the precise scene that sets off a catastrophic chain of events that sink this episode deeper than 1,000 Titanics.
I see what you mean. Oh, look up there! Look at that! Ain't that a hairy-chested batworm up there? Yeah, I thought they only came out at night.
No, I don't see anything.
Wait a minute! This ain't no picture of Gunge.
It ain't? I mean, it isn't.
No way! Look at here. Take a close look at these teeth.
Well, all right, but I don't see what that
Count
'em. 1, 2.
My point's exactly. Now take a close look in here.
Yes, I see what you mean.
First and foremost, this episode was written by my favorite Fraggle Rock writer, Laura Phillips. But I must ask her the very same question I asked for another beloved Fraggle Rock writer, David Young.
What the hell is that?
Of course, no personal offense meant, but it boggles the mind that the very same writer of such cherished episodes like the Fraggle Wars and two personal favorites of mine, Pebblepox Blues and The Voice Inside, could conceivably write an episode this frighteningly abysmal. Her signature touch of sentimentality is there, and she still manages to maneuver occasional emotional warmth, but it's greatly sullied by the equilibrium of senseless mean-spiritedness. Firstly, how in the hell could the architect, one of the most intelligent Doozers, fall for such a blatant trick? If the scene were written with any semblance of realism, our architect would snap at Philo post-haste for desecrating historical painting. The architect counts the teeth once again, and in lieu of trusting both his memory and the common sense Doozer Jesus gave him, he immediately believes Philo without question, and Philo is declared the new king. This is unfathomable levels of suspending disbelief. This episode's almost outright gaslighting you into believing the entire cast consists of nothing but morons and hypocrites. Speaking of hypocrisy, I can understand wanting to dethrone Gunge in order to gain his best friend back, but he then turns against everything he said by subsuming command. What the fuck, Philo? You talk big about loyalty, family, and friendship, but then you go to do the precise thing you swore against? Who the hell are you, the president? Sometime later, Gunge pours his heart out to Madam Heap, feeling empty for falling for all the artificial adulation, remarking that his one true friend was Philo all along. Which prompts Marjorie to mention that Philo shared this feeling when he was gone, so Gunge vows to make things right. Meanwhile in the dome, Philo is drenched in misery, much like me after watching La Notte Bianchi. Gunge returns, however, and we get a genuinely heartwarming song about their unbreakable friendship.
I would rather spend my lifetime wandering than be king of everything and not be friends with you. I would rather be your friend than anything at all. And the world can pass away if my friend is here to stay. Yeah, and it's you.
Afterwards, they bicker a bit and finally give Marjorie the McGeggy vines as promised, which do look rather dashing. She asks how they managed to convince the Doozers that neither of them were the king and to put one final rusty, jagged-ass nail in the coffin of this hell episode. They bicker again, and it's revealed that one of them changed the true king's teeth from 2 to 3. And once again, the Doozers are convinced. Fuck you, episode. We return to the workshop and Doc brings home some Rovers. Unfortunately, it's the dog food equivalent to Doritos, overpriced and not enough chip.
Oh, being a king isn't all it's cracked up to be. Eh, Sprocky? Ah, there you go, boy. Oh.
This is yet another tiring one to sit through. At the very least, A Dark and Stormy Night was a relatively relaxing and comfy atmospheric episode, but this one's just painful to watch. I'd consider this to be the Red Sea Monster of Laura's writing catalog. Philo and Gunge are ancillary characters for a reason. They're at their best when they're used sparingly, with the one exception being Home is Where the Trash Is. It's yet another horrendously written episode, but it's 1,000 times more entertaining than this drudgery incarnate. Firstly, the very foundation of the plot is well-trodden and generic. It's another one of your typical rise and fall stories, with our main characters learning a lesson in humility and valuing the treasure of family or friends in lieu of shallow, materialistic royalty. It is an admittedly profound lesson, but there's no shred of originality here. The premise at its core is so stale and tired, which is further exacerbated by grating characters such as Philo and Gunge. They're especially annoying in this episode, continuously bickering, backstabbing one another, and being generally unpleasant throughout. At first, Gunge is the prick flaunting his shit, so naturally we're gonna sympathize with Philo. But all of that sympathy soon flies directly out the damn window when he assaults an innocent cave creature and then goes on to do exactly what Gunge did. I genuinely feel as if everyone in the writing room just ran out of ideas at this point and just decided on a whim that Philo should be the one to assume power from Gunge. But it does nothing but pad out the runtime with more of the same dreadfully dull scenes of these rats being fatigued or bored with the Doozers' entertainment. Speaking of which, the Doozers are written like complete morons in this episode, and it makes me fucking furious. In fact, I've got a bone to pick with the whole Doozer lore involving nobility. Firstly, I just don't buy the Doozers ever having a king. From what we know about the Doozers' history at this point in the show, we know that they were once a tribalistic and superstitious people, as evidenced by Hammerstone and Spearhead's behavior. It's never explicitly stated when exactly the Doozers were ruled over by a king, but it doesn't add up with their previous history of being a nomadic society without rulers or leaders. Secondly, why a rat of all creatures? Even if we're going with the absurd idea that Doozer society was once a monarchy, it's never properly explained how exactly a creature of a completely separate race became their leader anyways. This might be a bit of a shock to hear, but the Doozers are an incredibly nationalistic people. Anything that isn't inherently Doozerish is automatically deemed as either dangerous or foolish. So let's go back possibly hundreds or even thousands. And do you really think a society of creatures this stubborn and nationalistic would ever, even for a second, consider a redentish king? Thirdly, even supposing this inconsistent history is correct, why does everyone automatically accept Gunge is the very same king as the one depicted in the painting? Realistically, he'd be long dead. Oh, another thing that really fucking boils my guts is how poorly written the architect is, who is one of my favorite Doozers, actually. Up to this point in the show, the architect has been shown to be a very competent, intelligent, and wise Doozer. So, how in the fuck is he falling for a blatant trick? For such an insufferable episode, I have to give it slight credit for the amazing songs. There's 3 songs here, and they're all impeccable in their own ways. I'm Gonna Be a Star is a self-indulgent but deliberately so, and it's a fine song overall. Party, Saturday Night is an essential party song. It embodies fun and deserves to be in a far greater episode. It's pretty much the Fraggle Rock equivalent to Dancing in the Moonlight by King Harvest. And our last song, Anything at All, is my personal favorite track of the episode. It's dripping with sentimentality and shows us just how deeply Philo and Gunge care for one another. It's beautiful and reminds me of my own love for my best pal Jordy. As for the dog subplot, it's there. I can't say that it infuriated me as much as the main plot did, but there's nothing really here to talk about. Overall, this was a hideously dull, grossly contrived, and terribly written episode by one of Fraggle Rock's most legendary writers. Do yourself a kindness and avoid this one at all costs. It's best left forgotten and unseen, which is a cruelty I only reserve for media this unbearable. I'm gonna give this one a misery-inducing, trite-level mushroom. If it's any consolation, this is the worst writing you'll ever get from Laura Phillips. Everything else she's written is miles greater, and I think she deserves to be remembered as the brilliant, kind-hearted, and gifted writer she was for the greatest show in the universe. Well guys, that was the review. I'll be saving the Bells of Fraggle Rock for Christmas as the season finale, and I will see you all next time.